Good day to you and welcome to this edition of Andre the Podcast on the Roar. I'm Andre Lacey. Thank you so much for joining us. Today on our show, we're going to be talking with two journalism students about what they enjoy about this profession and some of the things that they hope to achieve. Kevin Gaiss will also be with us today. He's a morning news reporter for WCAX in Burlington, Vermont, and today he'll be talking with us about landing his first job right out of college and what he's learned so far in his position. We'll have that and more on this edition of Andre the Podcast. We're going to be starting off with a heartfelt story about a group of students in Florida and their new friend, Lucky the Snowman. CBS News reporter Steve Hartman is on the road. I had the opportunity to talk with two journalism students, Johnny Hill and Autumn Lee, about what they enjoy most about this industry and some of the people who have inspired them along the way. Here's our conversation.
I feel like journalism can help you find your voice if you don't have a voice already. It can help you it can just help you mold yourself into a better person, I would say. Because you're probably not sure on what you're trying to do. And I feel like journalism and when I took journalism classes, a professor, she had me go out here and talk to strangers. And I didn't want to do that. I'm I don't want to go talk to him. And she just pushed me and said this is what you had to do. You're going to have to do this. And I feel when I first started talking to people, random people, I was very awkward. And I'm oh my God, what I'm going to say is they're going to want to talk to me. But you have to get them to open up to you and make them feel comfortable. And I used to be thinking in my mind, would this person feel comfortable talking to me? And it's just a lot. But I would say I like journalism because I can express myself and then I can also state facts. But yeah.
What about you, John?
I feel like journalism is the perfect major for me because it's everything that I want to do. And it's that is who I am as a student for real. As a journalist, I feel like that is what I'm meant to do because it fits me. It fits everything I want to do. I want to talk about sports. It give you different platform. Autumn said, it give you a voice for real. So I feel that's really the perfect thing for me right now. No other major, I couldn't be no doctor or nothing for real. That's not me. I that's what I need to do.
Yeah, because I would say I like to talk. So I wanted to get in somewhere where I can talk a lot, but also I like to talk.
Fact.
And I feel journalism is a platform where you can
Express yourself.
You can talk because they have different. You don't gotta go to a certain kind of job. It's journalism is very broad. You can branch out in whatever radio, news.
And you can make money off that stuff quick, social media and stuff and you just
you
talking to people.
Social media person.
Facts.
And they got other jobs where you can do news articles. You can write. You can be a writer.
Anything.
You can have your own blog. And
that's journalism.
Yeah, that's journalism. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about on your blog, but still be credible for people to
Facts. There's a lot of yes, facts. Yeah. There's a lot of jobs that people don't know that is really journalism for real. Just it go deep, man. What she was saying. I don't Renee. What she was saying is you can have your own blog. You can interview people. You can even get on TV, talk. It's so broad, bro. The avenues are endless. So why wouldn't I want to do that? You know what I'm saying? When it's something I already know I'm gifted at. I'm a natural talker for real. So
yeah. And you can also tell stories.
Storytelling.
How we take multimedia storytelling.
All of it, all the stuff we're doing, it relates back to storytelling. We all have a story.
If you think about it, everything even when you 7 inches, I don't want to talk about blog. You talking you making a blog, you really telling a story, telling that person perspective. All of that stuff.
When you interview people on the news, news stations, and when you watch Fox 13, right. They're telling stories. They're
Or Local 24, haha.
Yeah, you're telling a story, but it's all up to the audience to want to listen to the story. Fact. You got to be
They got to participate.
Yeah, not pretend.
They gotta be in the story.
Engaged. I just feel
that's what it is. Engaged.
You gotta tell a story where the audience is engaging with you. You don't want to lose your audience and talk about stuff that's not relevant and nobody want to hear.
Oh yeah, shout out to my mentor Rob Parker. He told me that, to be real. He said Johnny, one thing you gotta be as like a journalist, a sports personality, anything. If you're gonna have your own show, man, you gotta like be entertaining, but also be factual. Like people gotta want to tune into you, but they also know that you're telling the truth. It's all facts, and like you gotta be credible. You can't tell no lie, because like you tell a lie, it like ruins your name for real.
All right, keep it here. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. We're talking with Autumn and Johnny, rather, who are talking about some of the things that they enjoy about journalism, what they've learned, what they enjoy, what they hope to do. And so my question is for Autumn now. Autumn, if you were given the opportunity to interview one person right now that you maybe admire or that you look up to, who would that person be?
I would say Tiana Taylor. Because, like, I just feel like I know her. I don't know why. But she, like, when I went on her Twitter page, she's just, like, so, like her, you know how some celebrities, they have fans and they, like, pay their fans, like, no mind. But, like, when I go on her Twitter, like, she's always retweeting her tweets from her, like, fans. And she's, like, saying, "Ooh, thank you," wishing them happy birthday and stuff. And then, like, when I watched her reality TV show, she just seemed, like, so... Shumpert. Yeah, it's
she
called cool. We Got Love, Tiana and Iman. We Got Love, Tiana and Iman. That's the name of the show. Yeah, they got 2 daughters now. And when I was watching their like reality show, I just feel like I knew her. Like, you know how you watch somebody, you just feel like you know them, but you really don't know them. It's like how her personality is. She like has a nice personality, and she's very like humble. I just feel like I know her. Like, I want to meet her, like, for real. I just want to talk to her. Like, I feel like I can hang out with Tiana Taylor. Like, I can see myself hanging out with her. She's just so, and she's funny. I love her.
Yeah,
I love Tiana Taylor.
She cool though. Like she got a real like laid back personality for real, and she seemed genuine though. Like,
yeah, she seems so genuine. Like how she is. Like anything. Like I can watch her interview. Like all her interviews, she's like very genuine. Like down to earth. Like she don't seem like she really. Like, you know how normal celebrities be like, they have, like, the big head. Like, she just seems so, like, just nice. I just want to meet her.
Johnny, what about you? Anybody in mind that you'd want to interview if you were given the opportunity right now?
Man, I'm just going to go ahead and go with what I first said. Like, if this man was alive, I'd like to interview, like, Martin Luther King, for real.
That's a history-making moment. You get to interview him and talk about, you know, why he was a relevant part of history.
It's like think about, like, everything that man been through, he, man got spit on, like, stuff getting thrown, like the things that man just been through, like, and think about he paved the way for, like, all of us, like, for real. Like, that stuff just... Like, just to, like, chop it up with him for a couple of minutes. And it's like, that man done a lot, bro. And it's like, it's crazy, like, his legacy so big. And it's like, we're a part of his legacy if you think about it. Because, like, what we doing right now. Because, like, we got equal rights. Even though everything ain't, like, as good as it should be. But, like, it's pretty close where he wanted. So, like, it's pretty cool. Like, that's what I want to interview.
Okay. All right, so you want to go into sports, Johnny, and Autumn, you want to go into entertainment. So what made you both decide that you wanted to go into, you know, the paths that you've chosen? So sports and entertainment, was there like maybe an athlete for you that you admired, or someone in broadcasting who was in sports, or was there like an actress or like an entertainment reporter? Like, who wants to start?
I would just say what made me go into entertainment was like growing up, like watching award shows. I would say like BET Awards, and you know how they have like the red carpet, and they're like talking about like what you wearing and like who do you like, just in general. I just feel like I wanted to do that, and then I was like always into music, so I always seen myself working in like a music entertainment, like far as like radio or like somewhere where it's like entertainment happening. I just always wanted to hang out with entertainment people, like celebrities and stuff. I don't know. It just seems so fun. It's like laid back, chill, no pressure. I still get to hang out be cute. It's really like it just seemed like a fun job, like the Breakfast Club. Like I really want to work at the Breakfast Club with like Charlamagne the God, Angela Yee. Like I just can see myself working there because it's like fun.
That seems like your personality, your swag.
That's like the type of person I am. They have like say like 2 Chainz or like T-Pain come up, and I'm like you're just talking to them and like interviewing them, getting to know like what they're like, what do you have coming out
outside the music type stuff.
Yeah,
but like question,
but still like. Excellent.
Do you want to like do like rappers and stuff or like actors and like or broad like okay like you really want to be like the Breakfast Club because they do everything for real, like they do athletes,
they don't
everything.
Just interview like
rappers
and entertainers,
everybody like they even interview Hillary Clinton. She had a bottle of hot soccer.
Yeah, they interview a lot of people. Like you just don't have to be on like a musician or an artist. It's like very broad. Like it seemed like a cool job to me. And they live in New York.
Yeah, you could do. Who knows? You could be doing 106 in Park and the Breakfast Club. Just manifest it. Just manifest it.
That joint was so hard, bro.
It was good, man. Throwback. What about you?
What about me?
What made you maybe decide you were interested in sports and sports podcast?
What made me want to really get into it? See, I always knew everything. Not like saying like like knew everything, but I naturally like I always knew everything about like football, the history of it, like who was a great. Like I always knew like historical stuff about like the NFL, the NBA. I like watching that type of stuff. Like I love watching documentaries and stuff like that. Then I was thinking, man, I always know all this stuff. Like anybody tell me anything about a certain athlete, I know about the college or anything because like it's natural and that's something natural. Like I like to do too, and it's like I want to get into it, and then like naturally, I have a lot of athletes like who are my friends because like we either grew up or I'm just a great communicator with them, and like shout out to all my boys, like 8 of them just are on in the NFL right now, so like. Just seeing that they succeed, and of course that's what made me want to do that. Just being around the game because like football gave me a lot of good relationships. So of course I wanted to like do that.
You'll be able to say, I remember when, I knew you before all of this. Now look at.
That's crazy because like Calvin said this, and this is before he got drafted. He was doing an interview for me. He said, "Bro, I remember when you used to just write articles about athletes for real. I used to just write articles." And now I'm like interviewing them for real, have a podcast, and like it's just like slowly growing. So like, yeah.
We all start from somewhere. Yeah. So for y'all, I'm gonna wrap this up and then we're gonna take a break. So again, you want to go into sports, you want to go into entertainment. So would either of you like branch outside of just like your walls of sports and entertainment? And if so, would you limit yourself to another category, or would you just be open to anything maybe?
I would say I would be open to new things. I would try to be open to new things because I would be like, I love entertainment, but I would try something different. But it just depends on what category it is. It's in.
Any particular category?
Because I'm not going to do sports. I would say no to sports because I'm not into sports. So I would not do anything I'm not passionate about.
Facts. You should never do that. Like, if you're not passionate about something, you should never do that.
But yeah, it just depends on what the job title is. Like, what are they asking for? But I wouldn't say yes to like anything. Facts. Because if I don't, it just depends on the job title, I would say. Because,
me personally, I'm not gonna limit myself to sports because I know like my personality is greater than sports. Like sports are done like though. Like I like talking about it. Trust me, I like talking about it. Like that's something I'm passionate about. But I'm also like passionate about like life. Like I'm passionate about like getting to know talking about like people's stories. Like I really like journalism for real. So I like talking about stories. Like I like talking about like. Of course, entertainment because, like, of course, like, why not? I want to, like, branch out into anything. I really want to not, like, put myself in a box because, like, I don't want to do that for real because, like, I feel like once you in a box, you get stuck there. And people don't get to see the other gifted talents that you is. Because like I always want to know how to talk sport, but like I'm good at other stuff too. I'm good at talking about other stuff. So like yeah.
I always wanted to get into like directing. You know how like they'd be like
Facts,
directing
yeah.
music videos. I wanted to like direct music videos and like
You
commercials
should do that
and stuff.
for real.
It looked cool, but you
It
know,
goes-
like
it's a lot
that
of time
drone
in that.
thing. They have like a drone. You know how they do the drone? I never did the drone class. I wish we had a drone class at University of Memphis because
That'd be hard.
yeah, because the drone kind of like go up in like the air, and we just do like regular stuff, you know.
Yeah. I see what she's saying on that.
But yeah, I would definitely want to get into like directing videos and like music videos or something like that, or like just like commercials or something, like editing commercials, because commercials really be cool. Like when I watch them on TV,
Around
I'll be
Super Bowl time,
every
they
time
cool,
I
yeah.
watch a commercial on TV, I always say who edited that commercial, because it'd be like cool. I just be like, wow.
I look at like I think I like production, but like that's not like something I don't think I'm really going to be like because I do work with like Channel 5. Like I seen like the production side, like graphics and all that stuff. That stuff cool, but that I don't feel like that's something I would want to do. Like I learn it though, but I don't feel like that's something I want to do. But like I would like to like I would want to like have my own like station, like radio station network. That's something I want to do. That's what
Like
I
Oprah Winfrey.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I used to want to act, but I got into journalism.
I don't know, like
I can tell you a story about that though. There is a journalist, y'all may not know her, you know, but she's a respected journalist. Her name is Rolanda Watts, and she wanted to become an actress, but her parents were like, no, you know, you don't want to go into acting, you know, because this was in like the 60s and, you know, 70s. So, you know, there weren't a lot of like African-American actresses on television. So she went into journalism, you know, did news, like local news. Then she ended up doing national news, had her own talk show. And then after her talk show came to a close, she started becoming an actress, and, you know, now does work with, you know, TV and movies. She's also a comedian. She's a voiceover artist. All that, you know, you could come back around. So, all right, keep it here. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Logan, and you're listening to the University of Memphis Radio, The Roar.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Now back to the show on The Roar.
I always wanted to be an actress. I just feel like I can do like multiple personalities of people. Like crazy. I could play crazy. I feel like I can play a good crazy person. Like, you know how they be on Lifetime.
bro, she crazy, cuz. Bro,
I feel like
the way
I
she said
can play, you know, drama. Don't put me in
So you want to be in the Lifetime movies?
I could, like, you know how, okay, you ever seen, like, they have some black actresses that were in crazy movies, like When a Bow Breaks. That was a crazy movie. You ever seen it?
I haven't seen that either, man.
Oh my God, where you
But,
y'all
like,
be?
That go, man, chill. Hey, but that goes back to like this though. Like, I feel like what you just said. Like, you never really a finished product until like your time is really up. So like, I respect that though, because like that's what I want to do. Like, not saying I want to be an actor though, but like I don't just want to limit myself to sports. I want to get my name out there because I know I'm gifted at it. I know I'm naturally good at it, and I can communicate with people. But like, I want to like grow that whole brand of myself. Then I want to branch out to other stuff. So like, yeah, I for sure want to do what she did, like, but not act though.
You could have JHN, the Johnny Hill Network.
Ooh,
You can be the
that junk,
Oprah
and we're gonna
Winfrey.
keep it, and we're gonna keep it in the family.
You know, Oprah Winfrey's rich. She got her own network.
I need that.
She has It be coming on.
You know, open from the sip. So I'm trying to be great like her, man.
Yeah, she doing a lot of stuff.
I'm trying to be great. Shout out to Oprah.
Right now, we're going to talk about some of the professors that they respect and that, you know, some of the things that they've learned from them. So we're going to start with you, Autumn. Tell me, who is a professor that you respect and why? What have you learned from them?
I got two though. I would say Professor Jaglois. She was broadcast reporting teacher, professor or whatever, but she taught me like a lot in far as news. And like when I came into her class, like broadcast reporting 1, she said a lot of stuff like I never knew about. Like when I used to watch like the news and she was talking about how reporters have to go do their own thing and like be responsible for like everything, like shooting, script, and all of that. And I thought I was gonna come on and be an anchor. I'm like, she's like, no, you have to do this. And she was talking about like the market size, how you have to go to a low market size. I'm thinking, I always thought like before I even got into like a classroom, I thought that would be like going up like New York or something. And she's like, no, it's like a lower. She just like a lower market size, but she just like taught me a lot about far as like news journalism and how it really is in the newsroom. She just really talked about a lot of things that I didn't even know about, and it was like, oh wow, like that's how it really is. But it was cool though. Like she really taught me a lot of how to like, you know, talk as far as in journalism, how you should talk to get your words out, whatever. She just really taught me a lot of stuff, and like I would forever be like grateful for her class, even though this like her last semester teaching. I'm very like grateful. She taught me a lot of things. And I would say TK, I like TK as well. She's a good professor. She's like very laid back, but she's also like very, I would say, willing to like teach people other things. I don't think I know where I'm going. Hold on.
Like people, she's willing to teach people.
I'm like, TK is very like
genuine.
She has like that mother type of vibe to me.
That auntie vibe. She like an auntie.
Yeah, she really like gives me like a nurturing kind of vibe when
like
I'm around
see
her.
You be great type thing.
Yeah, and like she's taught me a lot of things about radio, like a lot, and I like really love TK. Like she's really cool. Like I have TK number, and I would text her with like situations like outside of work, and I asked her like advice on stuff, and she just always there to give me advice. And then I can like call her, and like she's just like very like motherly to me. Like, but I love TK. She's very cool.
Johnny, what about you?
Man, the two teachers that have been key to my success so far at Memphis, and that's Professor Otis, shout out to him, and also Miss TK, shout out to her, because like without them, like I know I wouldn't be like the type of student who I am, because like Autumn was saying, talking about Miss TK, she got a real nurturing type of vibe to her. Like she really wanted to see you be great. Like she be pushing me. I always be like, hey Johnny, what you gonna do here? And it'd be like, okay. She really believe in me, because she always wanna know what my mind is. And it's like I really appreciate her for everything she did. Like even like she trusted me to like launch the Roar for real. Like that was a big honor for real, and I really appreciate it. And like she really like an auntie or something to me. Like she really like showed me love for real, and I really do appreciate her for everything she doing. She really like inspired me like to get into like broadcasting and like being like a radio personality for real, because like shout out to her. And also Professor Otis. Like of course Professor Otis like inspired me. I tell him that every day, like for real, he inspired me, because he from where I'm from. He from Mississippi, and matter of fact, like I think like he from like Oxford, no Clark, like he from like Clark. He's up north Mississippi. He from where I'm at, and it's like just to see how he's on like the TV, and also like really being a great journalist, like that inspired me, because it like okay, I seen him do it, and he from where I'm at, and he really like. Really doing good in his craft, so like I feel like I can do it because he doing it. So yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah. I was gonna say like Professor Jaglois, she always pushed us like real hard, like beyond what you thought you can go. Like she always pushed us like, yeah, you can do this. But she used to never like say what you want to hear. She will always like tell you like the truth and be real like honest with you. And I like that about her. Like she would really be honest. And like about your work, she would really let you know like what you should improve on to get you like better. I like that about her.
Absolutely. There's nothing like having professors behind you that, support you and who want to see you succeed, and who aren't afraid to tell you the hard truth, because they want you to succeed. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, yeah, I get it. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to come right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to ATP on the Roar. We have some somber news to share with you. Legendary DJ Bobby OJ of AM 1070 WDIA has died. OJ passed away on Tuesday, May 3rd at the age of 68. The well-respected DJ sat down with Local 24 News in 2019 to talk about the history of the first African-American radio station and the impact it had on him. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Andre the Podcast here on The Roar. I had the opportunity to talk to Kevin Gaiss. He is a morning reporter for CBS affiliate WCAX TV in Burlington, Vermont. Kevin spoke with me about landing his first job in TV news right after college, and he also gave some really good advice to those of us going into the journalism industry. Take a listen. We are with Kevin Gaiss. He is a reporter with WCAX, the CBS affiliate in Burlington, Vermont. He joins us today to talk about some of the things that he's learned as a journalist and what you all can learn from him as well. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Andre. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. This is a major opportunity to talk with someone like yourself. I'm in college. You just sort of left college and you just got your first job working in television news. That's big. What has the experience been like for you so far?
Yeah, so it's been an absolutely wild experience. So I graduated, kind of just disappeared in the middle of the pandemic, and ended up landing a job sort of right at that beginning of the pandemic period. And it was just sort of pick up, move what you could, and then just sort of pick everything up on the phone. Mask wearing up here. So it was a wild ride. And I think that had it not been such a crazy experience right off the bat, I think it would have been a whole lot different. And in a weird way, it has been, I think, a little beneficial to the start of my career to start at such a weird time for journalism, but also for the whole world.
Absolutely. I was just about to ask, how challenging was it for you to actually start a job in the middle of a pandemic where you really weren't seeing anyone and you were kind of doing things maybe on your own?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right off the bat, even just starting out at a station that had just sort of learned how to be remote. I mean, all of the reporters who were my mentors at the time were sort of relearning how to do their profession because they were working from home, or they were reporting via Zoom, or they were relying on a lot of file footage. They didn't know what they could and couldn't get. There were a lot of unanswered questions. So it was interesting to watch sort of all of these people, even in the station I was working in, but also stations markets ahead of mine, sort of relearn their profession. I ended up having to train sort of in a remote fashion as well. I was able to go to the station quick, pick up my equipment, and then sort of turn around and just sort of learn a lot on my own in a weird way, but take a lot of phone calls, sit on a lot of Zoom meetings. And luckily, again, in sort of a weird way, the pandemic made, I think, a lot of people really patient because everyone was sort of learning at that moment. So there was sort of an extra little bit of patience kind of swirling around teaching the new guy, which was a good thing in a way. And then from there, I sort of learned that it was okay that everybody was sort of learning together at the same time. So it almost made me feel a little bit more comfortable in the situation that I was in, and made me feel a little bit better about having to learn things in that moment. And it's made me a more confident reporter now, knowing sort of some of the hurdles I've already had to jump as the world opens up a little bit. So it's been good. I mean, it was, like you said, definitely a challenge, but I think it'll definitely continue to pay off in the years to come.
Absolutely. So that my next question actually was, I'm wondering, like, were you intimidated? Were you afraid being the new reporter in the building and then, having to do everything kind of on your own? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime you start a new job, even I think, if and when the time comes that I jump stations, I think there's always going to be that feeling of a little bit of intimidation, a little bit of nervousness. Naturally, you're in front of a new audience. You're working for new people. You're working with new people. You sort of have that inherent feeling, especially, I think, in that first job where you go from doing it, at a college station, where you go from sort of like that practice level, let's say, up to the professional level. You can definitely feel sort of the eyes on you. You can feel sort of the pressure and understand that, there's an audience there that is going to rely on you for information now. But I think what it really came down to was, seeking guidance from those around me, especially those who had a lot more experience than me. So some of those station veterans that, were learning on the fly as well, but I think also had enough experience under their belt that they felt better about the situation that they were in. And that's something I love a lot about this profession is I have yet to really meet someone who doesn't want to help the next people up. I have yet to find people who sort of turn away younger journalists and say, like, no, I don't want to help you. It's a lot of people, even at my own station, as well as, in stations I've reached out to or had contact with, that just want to help. And everybody, it's a very tight-knit profession, which really makes the transition periods a lot easier.
Absolutely. I just finished a class focusing on TV news writing and reporting. And my professor, who actually is going back into the industry, was telling us that one thing about the newsroom is that you're going to know everyone and that you're going to have like some type of bond with everyone in the newsroom in some type of way.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, I have my morning team that I work with every single morning. I don't even really, I went from calling them a team to more so calling them a family now. I have in 2 years gotten incredibly close with them despite a few moving parts here and there, but they really are like my family. I mean, you spend a lot of really long days. There are a lot of emotional stories that happen over time, and you work on some really tough details, or you find some really awesome, exciting, upbeat stories that you get to tell too, and it really draws you closer. And it is one of those professions where you have to sort of be able to bond with people naturally and really sort of feel connected to the people that you're talking to just for stories. But then when you sort of translate that into the newsroom, the people who are helping you tell those stories, it does sort of create a very special connection between you and everybody that's around you, which is an incredibly rewarding feeling on the really good days and an incredibly reassuring feeling on the harder days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I learned some fun facts doing some research about you before we, started talking. So as we talked about, you are, you just got your first job straight out of college. That's huge. But you also got the opportunity to work for CBS This Morning, known as CBS Mornings now. What was that experience like?
Yeah, that was an absolutely incredible internship. I got the chance to work for the CBS internship program the summer of, that was 2019. So headed into my senior year of college, I got accepted into the internship program, got placed with CBS. At the time, it was CBS This Morning, so now CBS Mornings. And that was just an absolutely unbelievable experience. I mean, CBS, similar to local newsrooms, all of their different shows and all of their different departments have a very close-knit feeling. They all really have sort of tight bonds as well. CBS is, as a network, has sort of an incredible legacy to it. So being able to sort of go into the station, learn some of the legacy, learn some of the people who have been there for a ton of years, and some of the people that are going to be carrying it, carrying that legacy for years to come, was something that I will absolutely never forget. I mean, it was close to the point where I got to play for the softball team for CBS this morning at the time over the summer. And we were playing teams like the Today Show or CBSN when they were launching. So it was kind of just a really good chance to see how the network level operates. Also to learn in sort of like sessions, a really good chance to sort of learn a whole bunch about what network news looks like, as well as learn from really strong industry professionals like David Begnaud, like Steve Hartman, like Gail King and Tony DeCopel and Anthony Mason, as he was still there. The opportunity for education was really endless when I was there, and it really was one of those situations that you really just had to take such strong advantage of being around incredible journalistic minds and just suck in as much as you possibly could.
Absolutely. I'll say that's been a challenge for me, like even getting an internship. I'm working on that now. I'm a junior. And this pandemic has made that so difficult. You know, when the world closed down, they didn't really want anyone, to come, into their buildings, and trying to do it virtually, presented a challenge. So it's still difficult. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. I mean, I knowing sort of even just watching some of my classmates out of college, like I said, I was incredibly lucky to sort of see, people. I was lucky to get a job myself. I was lucky to see some of my classmates get jobs, but not long after, a lot of businesses and companies and newsrooms really closed their doors, and to a lot of people just to be like, hey, we can't have people coming in and out, like we used to, and it really has been a tough period, I think, and I really do sort of feel bad for, the classes below me, because they just didn't have those same experiences. They didn't have the same opportunities that I had to, learn a lot of these things. And that, I think overall, your classes will likely be stronger because of it. If you folks, feel ambitious and really choose that as an opportunity to sort of light a fire in your gut and be like, I will not be deterred. I want to learn. I think that'll be really strong. But at the same time, a lot of education when it comes to journalism is practice. And a lot of it is, watching it get done professionally. At least that was the experience I had. So for sure, I would say, be super persistent, when it comes to trying to land one of those internships, because you will learn a ton from it. But, in the meantime, a lot of watching news, a lot of reading news, a lot of, deconstructing it on your own time and figuring out why certain things work, why certain things don't, I think will be incredibly beneficial to your time as well.
Absolutely. I not to brag here, this is a funny thing that I wanted to discuss with you. So we've been, in my classes, we've been working on packages, how to write a VOSOT, how to write a SOT, how to add a NAT pop, all of that. And I feel like I'm pretty good at it, but I want to still improve on it, of course. And what's one of the things that you would say makes making packages for you for your stories maybe easier or challenging?
Okay, yeah. I guess it depends on what the piece is. I personally like the style of really interweaving and letting the characters that I have for my story and letting the experts that I have for my story tell the story. So I'm not the type to sort of have long tracks and then quick sots. I like to sort of really balance the piece between sots and writing. I think that there's incredible value in sort of choosing the words that you choose to put in the package very carefully, and then allowing the people that you've chosen to be a part of that story really tell the story, if that makes sense. So, instead of having just a quick top shot and then, or a quick top nat, and then just explain, with detail what you're talking about, and then just bring in one expert for a quick, quick 15-second bite, and then more track, and then one more 15-second sound bite, and then finish it off. Like, that to me almost feels more like a tracked VOSOT at some point. So I really like to sort of interweave the characters I have. Good writing is something that is incredibly difficult to master, and something that takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. And, I think it'll be probably another decade, 2 decades before I would consider myself sort of mastering the craft of TV news writing. But at the same time, I think that finding your own style and finding your own voice when it comes to journalism really only benefits the audience in the long run, because they learn to sort of appreciate your own version, and they don't feel like they're getting bogged down by watching and hearing the same things over and over and over again. They sort of can identify your work very quickly, or, on their own. So I think it's just one of those things that takes a ton of practice, and I don't think you can really undervalue how much, practice makes perfect in this situation.
Absolutely. Has there been a story so far that you've, wrote that has stood out to you the most?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a personal favorite of mine that I have told, and I always sort of, that leads me into a separate sort of point, but it was basically the story of a young girl that she's 11 years old, or she was 11 years old at the time, who had an untreatable and unnamed disease. And she had an absolute passion for firefighters and fire trucks and firefighting. And she has an incredibly close bond with the local fire department up here where she lives. And basically, right around the same time she was spending a ton of time down in Boston at the hospital, the fire department was getting a new fire truck, and they decided to name it Addie's Engine in honor of her. And so one of the times she had come back to Vermont, she actually was able to see her truck for the first time. And I was able to sort of combine, video and pictures that, the fire department had captured with some of my own interactions with Addie and her mom, as well as the chief of the fire department, who has sort of you can tell just by, watching the two of them interact, the little girl and the fire chief, just how tight of a bond that they have. And it was just one of those stories that, I didn't even have to write a lot. It just sort of told itself in a way. And you could sort of let the sound and let the interviews sort of speak for themselves. All I had to do was sort of add the context. And when it came, that part was easy. Just adding the build up, adding the lead up, and then sort of adding in a twist right in the middle was sort of, the beauty of it. And it just came out, in a way that I don't think I would have been able to match if I had, forced myself to add like facts, or forced myself to add, anything that didn't really feel necessary. So I was incredibly proud of the way it came out. But that sort of leads me into a separate point, which is I always wonder what it would have looked like if I had gotten that story now, because this was a year and a half ago that I told that story. So I always wonder what would have happened now that I have 2 years under my belt, or I wonder what would have happened if, I get that story 10 years down the line. And it sort of always is going to bother me a little bit that such a rich and strong story came by my plate when I was still so green as a reporter. But I've also sort of accepted the fact that, that's going to happen for the rest of my career. There are going to be stories that come across my plate that, I don't know if it's the opportune time to tell them, but it is the right time to tell them. And I just have to do the absolute best I can in the moment that they come across my plate.
Absolutely. That's a very powerful story. Very powerful indeed. My interview with Kevin Gaiss continues after this break. Stay with us.
Yes, sir. This is Johnny Dang. Get ready like Freddy, because you're checking out The Roar, the University of Memphis radio station.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Now back to the show on The Roar.
What made you decide, or when did you figure out that you wanted to go into the journalism industry?
Yeah, so there was sort of 2 points for my life that sort of pushed me into what I wanted to do. When I was probably about 13 or 14, I learned that I wanted to do something in the television production field. At the time, I thought it was going to be sports. I thought I really wanted to do sports. I was watching Sports Center and Sports Nation every day, and I thought for sure that was going to be my career path. As I sort of did a lot of sports, I was incredibly fortunate to be a part of that. I learned that sports weren't necessarily my niche. I decided that it wasn't quite for me. And then when I was a sophomore in high school, the Newtown shooting happened in Newtown, Connecticut. And I just remember how much that rattled my community. I lived probably about 35, 40 minutes from there. So to sort of watch a major news event like that happen and really just, absolutely rip apart the heart of a state when so many little kids died in an instant like that, but to watch the journalists, the local reporters on TV every single day, for the better part of the day. I mean, they were doing cut-ins constantly with more information. Just to watch them keep sort of their composure and really just, be this really strong pillar for the community to make sure that they were getting good information out there and that the community could trust them in such a really dark and terrifying moment. I felt really inspired in that moment to sort of watch those reporters, a lot of them either, a couple markets in, probably in their 30s, 40s, they were clearly visually very rattled and also expressing a ton of empathy for the families and for the situation, while at the same time doing an incredible job. That is something that I think will forever be ingrained into the back of my mind. And is really sort of at the foundation of what I want my career to be about. And that's about empathy and getting good information out to the world and sort of balancing the two of those things as I sort of work my way through such a demanding and difficult profession. Those were really the 2 points that sort of, I would say, forged my career. Sort of learning that I wanted to be in TV production, but then really honing that in a very, very dark moment for the state that I grew up in, but then also, news at large. I mean, there are chapters in books, that reporters have written. Scott Pelley has an entire chapter in his book, A Truth Worth Telling, about Newtown. So to sort of see a situation like that or an event like that make it all the way from the local stations I was watching up to the networks and be ingrained in those reporters' minds is sort of something that I will definitely carry with me all the way through my career.
Absolutely. And you made a very good point that I thought was like worth mentioning. What motivates you every day to keep going in this business? Because I know for a lot of people who are journalists, it can be demanding and it can be too much for them. And some people have left the industry because it just became too much. What keeps you going every day?
Yeah, so at the moment, I think it's constant growth that's keeping me going. There is sort of that like underlying feeling, you know, that and reminder that you have to sort of keep pushing yourself, knowing that you are in your gut and your heart trying to do something good for the community, for the city or the state, or multiple states that you're working in, sort of knowing that you're doing good by them, and that, you know, even if they don't necessarily like sort of the product that is being pushed out, that you really are trying to help them and trying to set them up for success in their own community. But at the moment, I think what's really keeping me going and what gets me out of bed is growth. So I think one of the best compliments that I get as a reporter, because this is my first market, is when I run into people in Vermont or in New Hampshire or upstate New York, sort of the areas that we cover, is really sort of the classic, like, I remember when you first started and, you know, you weren't that good, but you've gotten a lot better. That's sort of like, is to me one of the greatest compliments you can get. And, or they, you know, I've had people when I answer the phone in the newsroom who they recognize my voice, or, you know, they ask who's talking and I say it's Kevin Gaiss, and they're like, oh, you know, it's been great to watch you grow, you know, in the past 2 years you've been here, and we've really enjoyed watching you grow and turn into a really bright young reporter. Or, you know, we really enjoy when you're on the anchor desk or whatever it might be. But to sort of hear the validation from the community that they have enjoyed watching me grow as a person and enjoyed watching me grow as a professional, that to me is one of the most valuable things that I try to really hold on to, because it just reminds me that there is growth happening, even if I don't feel it day in and day out. There's growth happening every single day, and it's, you know, and that sort of puts me into this check of, you know, it's only been 2 years. You don't have to be, you know, a network style reporter or correspondent, or, you know, you don't have to be, you know, a seasoned vet. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be the best writer in the world, but you do just have to keep trying, and you do just have to care about the product that you're putting out, because the people in the community care about the job that I'm doing. And that, to me, it's really those comments are what keep me sort of moving forward. The community that you serve needs you to do a good job, you know, whether it's market 1 or, you know, market 207, you know, the community that you're working for needs you to do a good job, and they need you to, you know, work really, really hard, because you are their source of news in many cases. And of course, just to always remain humble and just understand that, you know, it'll be a long time before, like I said, you master this craft, and sort of a long time before you have your own style and you have your own sort of like flair on TV, and you have your own sort of, you know, persona and your own personality that you really want to get out. Like, all of that is sort of built toward. So understanding going into it that it's not going to be perfect, and you're going to mess up, and you're going to have some rough days here and there, but those good comments will come along that remind you that you're on a journey to build a career that, you know, down the line will likely be incredibly rewarding and will be incredibly valuable to the community that you decide to settle into, is sort of the eyes on the prize scenario. So really just keeping a strong focus on that, and giving yourself a little bit of a break, and really giving yourself the opportunity to mess up and the opportunity to fail, will only make you better in the long run.
All right. Well, folks, this has been Kevin Gaiss with WCAX TV in Vermont. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk with you folks.
What a wonderful show. Thank you so much for joining us for our first show here on The Roar. We really do appreciate it. Reach out to us on social media at Andre the Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And a special thank you to all of our guests who joined us as well. Take it easy and we'll see you next time.